Well, welcome everybody to tonight's meeting of the Urban Planning Special Committee. My name is Councillor Gary Thompson and I chair this committee. The health and safety and the wellbeing of the community has and will always be paramount consideration of the Council. Council continues to be guided by the government directives and wants to be able to do the right thing for the health of our community during the COVID-19 pandemic. The COVID-19 Omnibus Emergency Measures Act 2020, passed by the Victorian Government on the 23rd of April 2020, included changes to the Local Government Act 2020, which affected the conduct of council meetings. The changes became effective from the 1st of May. Council is now able to hold virtual meetings and councillors can participate in the meetings remotely by electronic means of communication. This has necessitated changes to the existing operation of the Urban Design Special Committee meeting. Unfortunately, we will not be able to facilitate members of the community or applicants addressing councillors at this meeting. Please be assured councillors have been informed of your written submissions and will consider it in their assessment of the planning application. Councillors will also have the opportunity to visit the planning application site. The Urban Planning Special Committee is a meeting being live streamed on Council's website, so you will be able to view the proceedings of the meeting, councillor deliberations and voting. The meeting will also be recorded and will be made available on the Council website as soon as practically possible after the meeting. Should a technical problem occur or be encountered tonight by the committee, then the meeting will be adjourned under resolution or postponed. I'll start by introducing my fellow councillors and officers who are present for this meeting of the Urban Planning Special Committee. Present this evening, Councillor Jack Wegman, Councillor Felicity Sinfield, Councillor Jane Addis, Councillor Lisa Hollingsworth, Councillor Jim Park, Councillor Steve Hurd, Councillor Philip Healy and Councillor Coral Ross, and the Mayor, Councillor Cynthia Watson. Also this evening we have the Director of City Planning, Sharan Wickramasinghe, Manager of Statutory Planning, Simon Mitchell, Coordinator of Statutory Planning, Erin McCarthy, Manager of Governance, David Thompson, Government's Projects Officer, Elizabeth Manu. The purpose of the Urban Planning Special Committee essentially is to deal with issues under the Planning and Environment Act and the Building Act. This committee has delegated authority to make decisions on behalf of Council. Councillors are familiar with the report, which includes a summary of objections received. Before we move on to that, I believe Councillor Sinfield, you have some audio problems. Are they okay or not okay?
Audio is fine. Councillor Thompson, I believe it's Councillor Park that is having some audio issues.
Councillor Park, I believe you've got some audio issues. We'll just get someone to assist Councillor Park as we move to that. I'll move on to the order of the business as listed in our business papers. Mr. Thompson, are there any apologies this evening?
Through you, Mr. Chair, there are no apologies for this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Adoption of and confirmation of the minutes of the UPSC meeting held on the 4th of May. Councillors, I'm in search of a motion. Councillor Hurd.
As printed, Chair.
Thank you, and just bear with me a tick, councillors. I just need to be able to see everyone in the screen. Do I have a seconder for Councillor Hurd? Councillor Hollingsworth. To assist Councillor Hurd, is there any opposition to that? There appears to be none, so I'll put that motion to the vote. All those in favour? I'm going to call you out individually. Councillor Healy in favour, Councillor Hollingsworth in favour, Councillor Addis in favour, Councillor Wegman, you had your hand up, in favour, Councillor Ross in favour, Councillor Sinfield in favour, Councillor Hurd in favour, and have I missed any other councillors other than myself? I am in favour. Councillor Park? Just looking for Councillor Park.
I'm here, but I don't know.
And you're here and you're in favour. I can't see you on my screen, Councillor Park. And Councillor Watson, you are also in favour. Thank you. Good day. We'll move on to the next item. Declaration of conflict of interest of any council or council officer this evening. Are there any conflicts of interest? I will be declaring a conflict in item 3.1, 68 to 70 Riversdale Road when that item comes up. I'll move on to that item. So councillors, as flagged, I do have a conflict of interest in this item under section 79B of the Local Government Act. I have a conflicting personal duty as a councillor. The director of the architectural practice who's done the design of this building that's before us this evening, I've recommended that to an employer of my wife and they have been engaged on my recommendation. I seek leave of the committee to abstain from voting on this item in accordance with section 79B of the Local Government Act, as I have a direct interest in the decision because it directly affects my obligations. I'll be seeking a leave from council.
Councillors acknowledging that Councillor Thompson has declared a conflict of interest and now left the meeting, we need to elect a temporary chairperson. I therefore call for nominations for the position of temporary chairperson. Councillor Healy.
I nominate Councillor Watson, our Mayor, who's the previous chair, as our protocol calls for in such circumstances.
Thank you, Councillor Healy. I see Councillor Ross is seconding that nomination. Are there any further nominations? There being no further nominations, I declare Councillor Watson elected as temporary chairperson. Councillor Watson.
Thank you, Mr Thompson. I'd like to now proceed to item 3.1, which is the presentation of 68 to 70 Riversdale Road, Hawthorn. And I believe we're having a presentation this evening from Erin McCarthy, who's the coordinator of statutory planning. So thank you very much, Erin.
Thank you. Through you, Ms Chair. An application has been made to Council to amend the existing planning permit for 68 to 70 Riversdale Road, Hawthorn. The existing permit allows partial demolition and construction of an extension to the existing significant heritage building known as Killer Mount, which includes construction of a new 3-storey extension to the rear of the existing building. The planning permit was issued by Council at an Urban Planning Special Committee meeting on the 3rd of December in 2018. During that meeting, an alternate motion was made and carried to remove level 3, the 4th storey, which comprised a sunroom and a roof deck. The current amendment seeks to construct an external staircase to provide a rooftop garden for Unit 1, along with rooftop balustrades and planter boxes. 3 conditions are sought to be deleted to facilitate this change. Given the existing planning permit in place for the overall development, the scope of considerations in the current amendment application are confined to the impact of the proposed rooftop garden area and the associated staircase, balustrading and planter boxes only. The current application does not propose any additional enclosed floor area. The only buildings and works proposed are an open staircase and balustrade and planter boxes surrounding the rooftop garden. The proposed staircase will be located on the eastern side of the building behind the main ridge line of the existing roof. The rooftop garden will be enclosed by a 1.1 metre high solid rendered balustrade. The balustrade will be set back 1.3 metres from all parapets. The rooftop garden will feature new planter boxes behind the balustrades around the perimeter with widths of 800 to 940 millimetres. The proposed rooftop garden and associated staircase, balustrades and planter boxes comply with Council's heritage policy and the heritage overlay. No change is proposed to the principal roof form or facade of the heritage apartments. The proposed staircase and balustrades are located behind the existing roof form and under the sight line in Council's heritage policy. The staircase and balustrade do not dominate the significant heritage building and are clearly read as a secondary element. Council's Heritage Advisor is also supportive of the amendment application. The proposed works also respond appropriately to adjoining properties. Subject to the recommended permit condition to ensure all planter boxes are notated as fixed on the plans, the proposal fully complies with the amenity requirements of Res Code, specifically Standard B17 side and rear setbacks, Standard B21 overshadowing and Standard B22 overlooking of Clause 55. Full details of the proposal, discussion of all objections and assessment against the relevant controls and policies are contained in the officer report. Overall, subject to the recommended condition, it is recommended that the amendment proposal is supported. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sharon, for your report. Councillors, are there any questions for Ms McCarthy this evening? Thank you. Councillor Ross.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you...
Councillor Ross, can you speak a bit louder or put that...
I'll try and eat the microphone again. Through you, Madam Mayor, I have a few questions and should I ask them individually or in a mass?
Councillor Ross, I think if you ask all your questions together, that would be the best way to proceed this evening.
Okay, the first question is just to confirm again so that there is no doubt and no confusion that this application is purely for the rooftop garden and the access stairs. My second question is, and I will actually split them, my second question is, what is meant by generally? On page both 14 and 23 of the report, it says that the application is generally consistent with the Heritage Statement of Significance. I can just get answers to those two and then I'll ask the others.
Thank you. Through you, Ms Chair. I can confirm that the application is only for the rooftop garden and the associated access stair and the balustrade and the planter boxes. With regard to the word generally contained within the report, it is acknowledged that the word is contained in the abstract and in the report. However, officers are of the view that the proposed amendment fully complies with Council's local heritage policy. The proposed amendment complies with the tests outlined within the policy and then it doesn't alter or obscure any original fabric of the building. The materials proposed are also complementary and the siting of the proposed works are appropriate and don't dominate or detract from the existing building. And therefore, those are the tests outlined in the policy, so officers are of the view it fully complies.
I could ask just a couple of extra questions then. Regarding the heritage, one of the tests is the sight line from the street, just to confirm that it complies with the views from the street.
Thank you. Through you, Ms Chair. The sightline test contained within the policy is specific to contributory graded dwellings. Nevertheless, officers have used the assessment because we consider it a useful tool for assessment of upper floor additions against significant buildings as well. And the rooftop garden and the associated balustrade and staircase are clearly well below the sightline, so they do comply with the sightline test.
Further questions, which are one is to do with screening. One of the objectors has contacted me regarding the screening and questioned why there is no necessity for screening at the top of the rooftop garden. And the second one is, last questions are to confirm that it has full compliance with Res Code regarding overshadowing, overlooking and regarding setbacks.
Thank you. Through you, Ms Chair. I can confirm with regard to overlooking and screening, the rooftop garden proposes a balustrade of 1.3 metres around the perimeter of the garden, and then there are planter boxes behind those balustrades, ranging from 800 to 940 millimetres wide. Sightline diagrams were submitted with the application that show that view lines are clearly not possible when a person is standing up on the rooftop deck. Furthermore, overlooking, and the Res Code requirement considers overlooking within 9 metres of where a person is standing, and those views clearly do not allow for views down into the adjoining properties. I can also confirm that the proposed rooftop deck has full compliance with Res Code with regard to overlooking, with regard to overshadowing, and with regard to the site and rear setbacks. Specifically, overshadowing has also been considered, and any shadow that's cast from the staircase or from the balustrade fully falls within the subject site and will not affect adjoining properties. With regard to the setbacks are well within the side and rear setback provision of Res Code, so therefore it achieves full compliance. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Ross, for those questions, and Ms McCarthy for your reply. Are there any further questions for officers this evening? There being none, councillors in search of a motion. Councillor Ross.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Madam Chair. As printed, please.
Thank you very much. And Councillor Healy?
Happy to second.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone opposed to this motion this evening? Councillor Ross, as mover of the motion, would you like to speak?
Yes, I would. Thank you, Madam Mayor, Madam Chair. This is a difficult application, and I can't say I'm completely comfortable with the proposal, but it is fully compliant with Res Code, as you've heard, and with the heritage guidelines. This then means that I cannot see any reason why we shouldn't approve this application. I believe that this is probably, if my memory serves me right, the third set of plans that we've seen for this heritage property. And in this particular case, as we've heard, that one of the extra conditions which is on this, which was of a concern to some of the residents, was that the planter boxes will now be fixed. As I said, this is now the third set of plans for this. So I would like to thank the applicant for changing the plans, and to the local residents who have diligently pored over each of the applications. So thank you. I'd commend this application, or the motion, to my colleagues.
Thank you very much, Councillor Ross. I'll now put that motion to the vote. All those in favour? And as I call your name, if you could please put your hand down. Councillor Healy, Councillor Ross, Councillor Sinfield, Councillor Park, Councillor Wegman, Councillor Addis, Councillor Hollingsworth, and Councillor Hurd, and myself. That concludes the voting tonight, and say that the motion is carried and it is unanimous. So that concludes item 3.1. So now hand back the chair to Councillor Thompson at the appropriate time.
Councillors, if you bear with us a moment, we will now bring Councillor Thompson back online.
Well, thank you, Councillor Watson, for standing in as temporary chair. We'll move on to item 4, any items of general business. I believe, Councillor Hurd, I've got a raised hand from your point of view.
Very briefly, Chair and Councillors, many of you may have noticed the article yesterday in Herald Sun around, and it was also referred to us around VCAT decisions in local areas. One decision was mentioned, which was Grattan Street in Hawthorn, which is one that frankly quite surprised me.
Sorry, Councillor Hurd, do you mind just speaking into your microphone a little bit clearer?
Apologies, I thought that was going okay. Must have moved.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, look, just to note the concern that I feel with with the people that spoke in the paper yesterday about issues like Grattan Street. That one really did surprise me, given the history of it and given the locale, that it went the way it did. Of course, we can't second guess these decisions, but I just wanted to note the concerns of residents and tell them that I share those concerns.
Thank you, Councillor Hurd. That's duly noted. Any other councillors' general business? There appears to be none. Item 5, any items of urgent business? There appears to be no items of urgent business. Any items of confidential business? Appears to be no items of confidential business. So thank you, councillors, and thank you, members of the community who've been viewing this online. I will now declare the Urban Planning Special Committee meeting closed at 6:55 p.m. Thank you.